In the heart of the vast chamber, Ambassador Sarah Chun stood alone. The scale of the room was immense, dwarfing any structure she'd known on Earth. Its walls, crafted from an unknown crystal, emitted a gentle blue luminescence. Far above, the ceiling vaulted so high it nearly vanished from view. Surrounding her were the delegates from 47 distinct alien races. A few bore a resemblance to humans, but the majority were profoundly alien. There were the Zephyrians, appearing as animate glass statues that shimmered with different colors as they shifted. The Corvinth, towering at twice human height, possessed tough gray hides and menacing teeth. Delegates from the hegemony had 4 arms, their eyes casting a crimson glow in the subdued lighting. For 3 years, Sarah had frequented this hall. She served as humanity's envoy to the Galactic Council, the advocate for her entire species. Humanity had been a member of this massive galactic alliance for 3 centuries. As the most recent additions, they were still struggling to solidify their place in the cosmos. But this day was unlike any other. Sarah understood her role wasn't to advocate for Earth. It was to receive its sentence. The accusations were recited in the ancient tongue, a language mandatory for all council members. Sarah grasped every syllable, each word landing like a shard of ice. The council accused humanity of constructing an excess of warships. They accused humans of seizing too many worlds. But the gravest charge was that humans stubbornly clung to their own forms of self-governance. A murmur of assent rose from the assembled alien species. Claws rapped against seats. Low hums vibrated in the air. The Zephyrians pulsed with harsh, furious colors. Their consensus on humanity was clear. Sarah's mind turned to the human colonies scattered over countless star systems. Every colony had its own governance, its own legal code, its own distinct culture. This was the human way, a tradition stretching back to their homeworld. The council, however, demanded uniformity. It wanted all members to adhere to a single set of regulations, to adopt a unified mindset, to merge into a singular government overseen by the council. Humanity had declined. They agreed to abide by council laws in interstellar affairs, but insisted on maintaining their internal autonomy. This defiance had stoked fear and anger among the other species. High Arbiter Valar of the hegemony rose to address the assembly. As the council's chosen leader, empowered to make final judgments, his presence commanded attention. His 4 arms gestured as he spoke, his crimson eyes intensifying their glow. The human species has proven incapable of adhering to council law, he declared, his deep voice resonating throughout the immense hall. They construct vessels when we forbid it. They establish colonies when we declare they have enough. They preserve their antiquated governments when we instruct them to integrate. Sarah felt the urge to rise, to defend her people, but the time for defense had passed. This was not a trial. It was a sentencing. For 300 years we have endeavored to guide them. Valar continued. We have offered patience. We have granted them opportunities. Yet they refuse to learn. They refuse to adapt. They remain what they have always been, a chaotic species impossible to domesticate. More sounds of agreement. Sarah caught glances of pity from some, while others radiated anger or disgust. A select few looked almost relieved this moment had finally arrived. The vote shall now be cast, Valar announced. All who support the expulsion of humanity from the Galactic Council, make your will known. One by one, the votes came. The Zephyrians flashed a stark white, signaling yes. The Corvinth raised their right hands. The avian-like species sang a sharp affirmative note. Each race had its own method, but the outcome was identical. Yes. 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 46 species voted for humanity's removal. Only the human vote stood in opposition. Sarah's single voice drowned in the chorus of consensus. When the tally was complete, Valar stood once more. A profound silence fell over the great hall, so deep Sarah could hear the pounding of her own heart. By the ancient laws of this council, humanity is hereby stripped of its membership in our alliance, Valar proclaimed. All treaties are nullified. All trade compacts are dissolved. All cooperation is terminated. He paused, his red gaze seeming to pierce right through her. You have 7 of your solar cycles to withdraw all humans from council-controlled space, he went on. Every colony, every vessel, every individual must return to your origin system. After 7 cycles, any human discovered within council territory will be designated an enemy. Sarah's knees buckled. but she willed herself to remain standing. 7 Earth years. It sounded like a long time, but for the task ahead, it was an impossibility. Millions of humans on hundreds of worlds, relocating them all would be the most monumental undertaking her species had ever attempted. Do you comprehend these terms? Phalar asked her directly. Sarah scanned the hall one last time, seeing species humans had fought alongside. Species they had aided in crisis. Species they had rescued from oblivion. None of it mattered. Fear had eclipsed friendship, and the Council was terrified of humanity's potential. I understand, Sarah replied, her voice unwavering despite her shattering heart. Then, she did the unexpected. She smiled. But I want you to remember this day, she said, her voice carrying to every corner of the hall. You are committing the single greatest error in Council history. You believe you are excising a problem, but you are forging something far greater. Phalar's eyes burned brighter. Explain yourself, human. Sarah drew a deep breath, picturing her blue-green homeworld, imagining the vibrant colonies and seeing the sleek, indomitable spirit of human-built ships. You are setting us free, she stated simply. For 300 years we've constrained ourselves with your rules, your tech, your laws. We did it to be part of something larger. Perhaps that was our mistake. Perhaps we were never meant to be just one more voice in your choir. The hall was utterly still. Every being was captivated by her words. You demand we return to our home system to be contained like pets, Sarah continued. But humans are terrible pets. We never have been. We explore. We build, we adapt. We never ever stop pushing regardless of the obstacle. She locked her gaze with Phalar's, meeting his fiery stare without flinching. So yes, we will vacate your territory. We will gather our people, our ships, and our colonies. But we will not fade into the darkness. We will build something new, something superior.
And one day, when you desperately need our help, you will recall that you once had us as friends. With that, Sarah turned and marched toward the great doors.
Her footsteps echoed in the vast silence. Behind her, whispers erupted, some anxious, some irate. But Sarah didn't look back. She had given humanity's final word to the Galactic Council. It was time to go home. They had 7 years to prepare for the Exodus and prove that humanity didn't need the Council to claim the stars. 7 years to build their own empire. The directive reached every human colony within 72 hours. From the mining stations orbiting Kepler 442 to the agricultural worlds in the Centauri system, the same message lit up screens and resounded from speakers. Admiral Marcus Webb had dictated it himself from his office at Luna Command, watching Earth rotate slowly below. All human citizens in Council territory must evacuate to the Sol system immediately, the message declared. We have 7 years to complete this withdrawal. This is not a request. This is an order for the survival of our species. Webb tracked the replies as they flooded in. Colonial governors were outraged. Others were terrified. Some demanded to know if it was a prank. But Webb knew it was chillingly real, having been in communication with Ambassador Chun since the moment she left the Council chamber. The simple path would be to panic. The smart path might be to grovel, to plead with the Council for more time or better conditions. But humans rarely took the simple or smart path. They were known for achieving the impossible. Webb convened a meeting of all colonial leadership. Using quantum communication arrays spanning dozens of light years, he gathered the scattered voices of humanity's interstellar presence. Governors, mayors, captains, and station commanders materialized on his main screen. They want us to crawl back to Earth defeated, Webb told them. They imagine we'll abandon 3 centuries of progress and hide in our home system like frightened children. They are mistaken. Captain Maria Santos, leader of the new Terra colony, spoke up. What are you proposing, Admiral? We can't wage war against the entire Council. We aren't going to fight them, Webb replied. We are going to do exactly what they asked. We're going to leave, but we won't be leaving empty-handed. He projected a star map. Red dots indicated colonies within Council space. Blue dots marked the independent settlements, fewer in number but spread over a far wider unclaimed territory. We are taking everything, Webb announced. Every building, every factory, every piece of tech we can haul. We will strip our colonies to the bedrock and transport it all to the independent settlements. When we're done, the Council will reclaim empty planets while we will have laid the foundation for something infinitely greater. The leaders stared. Some were baffled, others energized. A few clearly thought he was insane. Dr. Elena Vasquez, head of the Alpha Centauri Research Station, was the first to find her voice. Marcus, you're describing the largest logistical operation in history. We'd be moving entire cities across hundreds of light years. Yes, Webb said. That is precisely what we are going to do. The plan was so audacious it just might succeed. Human colonies were built with modularity in mind. Structures could be disassembled and reassembled. Factories were designed to be mobile. Even planetary defense grids could be packed up and moved. But the true key was the one thing the Council always misunderstood about humans: their capacity for mutual sacrifice. When the order went out, volunteers surged from every corner of human space. People abandoned comfortable lives on established worlds to help erect new colonies on harsh, untamed planets. Families packed their entire existence to move to places where the air was still being processed and the soil was just being broken for the first time. The Great Consolidation, as it would be known, started 6 months after the judgment. Phase 1 involved moving the smaller outposts and research stations, practice for the megascale operations to come. Captain Lisa Park, commanding a transport fleet, oversaw the evacuation of Research Station Gamma 7. Her ships carried the station's entire population and research. The difficult part isn't the move, she noted in her log. It's watching people say goodbye to their homes. But there's a beauty in it. These people aren't running from something. They're running towards something. The larger colonies, like New Terra with its 2 million inhabitants, took years. But the colonists dedicated themselves to the task with the same grit their ancestors had when they first left Earth. The Council observed this flurry of activity with mounting confusion. They'd expected compliance, not a mass, systematic relocation of infrastructure. Reports detailed massive human armadas hauling industrial plants, research labs, and even atmospheric processors. Some council members grew nervous. High Arbiter Valar scoffed at their concerns. Let them take their trinkets, he declared. Without our trade networks and protection, they'll starve on their frontier worlds. They will be back begging for re-entry. But the humans weren't just moving, they were upgrading. Dr. Vasquez's team used the transit time to improve everything. New fusion reactors, advanced manufactories, and cutting-edge life support systems were deployed. We are not just relocating, we are evolving, Vasquez told her team. The Council's regulations are gone. We can finally build our way. The change was profound. Council tech was built to be safe, predictable, and permanent. Human tech was experimental, adaptable, and disposable. Freed from regulations, human engineers shattered old boundaries. The new colonies rising in the void were marvels of innovation. Cities reconfigured themselves based on weather. Factories could switch from building starships to growing food. The most critical change, however, was in the people. They were no longer the Council's junior partners. They were pioneers. The shared hardship forged a new, unified identity. By the 4th year, the map had transformed. The red dots were gone. The blue dots had multiplied, burning brighter. A network of thriving, powerful worlds now existed where only a few struggling outposts had been. Exactly 7 years after the judgment, the last human ship departed Council space. On that very same day, the independent human colonies formally declared the establishment of the Terran Commonwealth, a new starfaring nation, sovereign and independent. Ambassador Chun, now the Commonwealth's first foreign minister, sent the Council a final polite message. The evacuation is complete. Humanity extends its gratitude to the Council for teaching us we never needed your permission to be great. 5 years passed. In the vast shipyards orbiting New Canberra, the clang of construction was relentless. Kilometers-long frameworks held the skeletons of vessels that would have terrified the Council. Captain James Rodriguez surveyed the main bay as workers in zero-G suits fixed armor to a new battlecruiser. It was twice the size of any ship humans had built under Council rule, but its design was what truly set it apart. Council ships were fortresses, thick, slow, and built to last. Commonwealth ships looked like predators. They were sleek, angled, and built for one purpose, and speed and overwhelming force. And status? Rodriguez asked the chief. 3 months on this one, sir, but we have 20 more like her in the pipeline. The indomitable class will be the spine of our fleet. Rodriguez reviewed the specs. The weapons were revolutionary. Rapid-fire plasma cannons designed to saturate shields and new fusion drives that shattered Council safety protocols. But the true innovation was the decentralized processing. If the bridge was destroyed, engineering could still fight the ship. The council taught us to build by their rules, Rodriguez mused. Now we build by ours. This transformation was happening everywhere. On the planet Haven, the new capital, New Geneva, was rising. Unlike the rigid ancient council capital, New Geneva was designed for flexibility and democracy. President Elena Santos, victorious in the Commonwealth's first-ever system-wide election, stood before the new parliament. Citizens, she broadcast across the Commonwealth, 5 years ago we were exiles, cast out by those who feared our potential. Today, we are the founders of a new civilization. The city around her was a fusion of human ingenuity and lessons learned from their former partners, but built with human adaptability. We were told we were too independent, too aggressive, Santos continued. They were right about one thing: we are different. We do not accept that the old way is the only way. The Commonwealth's growth was explosive. The network now included over 100 worlds. Its true strength wasn't size but philosophy. It was a pure meritocracy. This philosophy attracted talent from all over the galaxy. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a former council xenobiologist whose work had been stifled, now led a fully funded Commonwealth research team. The council boasts of diversity, she told her new multi-species team, but they all think alike. They fear change. True diversity is diversity of thought. Her team included Cathara engineers, masters of construction, and wanderer fleets, who used their knowledge of secret jump routes to aid Commonwealth exploration. Even some council member species began sending cultural exchange missions, quietly allowing their best minds to observe, and often defect to, the Commonwealth. The council watched with growing dread. Reports described human fleets appearing at will, colonies materializing on uninhabitable worlds, and technology that defied known physics. Arbiter Valar convened emergency sessions. Some hardliners demanded military action. They are a contagion, declared Representative Kroos. If we don't stop them, they will become uncontrollable. But others urged caution. The Zephyrians noted the Commonwealth hadn't attacked anyone. Perhaps, suggested Elder Zara of the Crystalline Collective, we should ask why so many are drawn to them. What are they offering that we are not? The question hung in the chamber. For millennia, the Council was the only power. The idea that someone could build something better was heresy. Yet Commonwealth worlds had higher living standards, faster innovation, and more freedom. President Santos concluded her speech with words that would define the new era. We did not choose this exile, but we embrace the freedom it gave us. We will build something worthy of the best in all sentient beings, not through force but through the conviction that everyone has the right to reach for the stars. The exiles had built an empire. The galaxy would never be the same. The first indications of the shift came via Council intelligence. Agent Crix, reading reports in his darkened office on Nexus Prime, was baffled. Massive human battle fleets were operating in the Outer Rim, not small explorer groups, but full-fledged armadas. His sources reported human shipyards building vessels in months, not years, and mining operations extracting resources at impossible rates. Worse, alien species were defecting. Entire Cathara engineering guilds had vanished, only to reappear in Commonwealth territory. Crix forwarded his findings, but High Arbiter Valar dismissed them. Primitive exaggerations, Valar declared. They are using old council tech. They will collapse when it breaks down. But the reports intensified. Human ships were faster. Their weapons were stronger. Their defenses violated physics. The Council's denial shattered when long-range sensors detected the impossible. A large, organized fleet approaching Council space, broadcasting Commonwealth diplomatic codes. High Arbiter Valar stared at the tactical display. 24 ships led by a vessel that dwarfed the Council's heaviest battleships approached Nexus Prime. Activate the defense grid? Asked General Morvac. Valar hesitated. The fleet looked capable of obliterating their defenses, but they were flying diplomatic flags. Let them approach. All defenses on high alert. The Commonwealth flagship that entered orbit was a weapon disguised as art. Its hull was liquid metal, its armor stronger than anything the Council possessed. Weapon ports were seamlessly hidden. Ambassador David Park materialized in the Council chambers via a matter transmission system that unnerved the Council scientists. He was young, but radiated the same confidence Sarah Chun had shown. Honored representatives, Park said with a slight bow. The Terran Commonwealth extends greetings and formally requests the establishment of diplomatic relations between our two sovereign governments. Silence. The implication was staggering. He wasn't asking to rejoin. He was demanding recognition as an equal. Representative Kraz found his voice first. Your collection of exiles is not a legitimate government. We do not recognize you, Park smiled politely. With respect, the Commonwealth controls over 300 star systems and 50 billion sentient beings. We are not asking for your permission to exist. We are offering formal relations, whispers erupted. 300 systems. That was an empire. Impressive numbers, Valar leaned forward. If they are true. We brought proof, Park said. A holographic map filled the chamber, detailing a vast, organized, and powerful Commonwealth, more advanced than they could have imagined, and it was still growing. This is impossible, whispered Elder Zara. No species has ever expanded so rapidly. Humans are not like other species, Park said. When you exiled us, you forced us to follow our own rules. The results speak for themselves. The display shifted to military assets. The Commonwealth fleet was smaller but technologically superior in every metric. This proves only that you remain arrogant and aggressive. Crow shouted. We are not demanding, Park said calmly. We are offering. Trade, cultural exchange, mutual defense. We believe cooperation benefits us both. The debate raged for hours. Hardliners demanded rejection. Pragmatists urged caution. The decision was made for them. Emergency alarms blared. Long-range sensors detected a massive unknown fleet approaching from beyond the galactic rim, moving at impossible speeds, leaving a trail of destroyed worlds. The sensor officer's voice was grim. Unknown fleet estimated 10,000 vessels. Alien technology. They've annihilated 3 frontier colonies. They will reach our outer systems in 36 days. The tactical display showed the threat. A swarm of invaders who did not communicate, did not negotiate. They only destroyed. The Devourers. Ambassador Park said quietly. All eyes turned to him. We've been tracking them for months. You knew about this? Valar demanded. The first engagement was a massacre. A council fleet met the Devourers at the Rim Station outpost using traditional, 1,000-year-old defensive formations. The Devourers annihilated them in 20 minutes. Admiral Sarah Chun, pulled from retirement, watched the battle recordings on the bridge of her flagship, the CNS Defiance. They don't fight like any species we know, reported her tactical officer, Commander Torres. No formations. Each ship seems to act independently but in perfect, terrifying coordination. Chun watched the alien vessels, organic, fluid, and seemingly able to violate physics flow around the Council's defenses. Intelligence? Chun asked. 10,000 confirmed, but more keep appearing. We think they use some kind of dimensional drive to jump straight into combat. And, Admiral? Their weapons. They don't just destroy. They unmake matter. The intercom crackled. Admiral Chun to communications. Ambassador Park was waiting. On the screen behind him was High Arbiter Valar, his red eyes dim with exhaustion and fear. Admiral Chun, Valar said, swallowing his pride. The Council formally requests Commonwealth assistance. We are prepared to place all Council military forces under your unified command. The words were poison but necessary. The supreme power in the galaxy was asking the exiles to save them. Your terms? Chun asked. No terms, Valar replied. We are fighting for survival. Pride is a luxury we can no longer afford. Chun saw the cost in Valar's face, but she also saw a new respect. The Council finally understood. I accept command, Chun said simply. Transmit all fleet data. We have 3 days to fortify Sanctuary. Sanctuary, a fortress world, the last line of defense for the Council's core. The preparation was chaotic. Incompatible Council and Commonwealth ships were integrated. Human commanders gave orders to alien crews. Dr. Yuki Tanaka's mixed species teams found ways to link the disparate technologies. Cathara engineers and human technicians upgraded weapons on the fly. This, Dr. Tanaka told a Council scientist, is the power of true cooperation. Not forced unity, but a partnership of equals. The Devourer fleet dropped from their dimensional drive right on schedule. All ships, Admiral Chun broadcast across the combined fleet. Today we fight not as Council or Commonwealth, but as free beings. Show them what we can do together. It was the largest space battle in history. The Council ships fought bravely, but their rigid tactics failed. The Devourers were too fast, their assault too brutal. It looked like the Rim Station all over again. Then the Commonwealth ships demonstrated their mastery. Human vessels broke formation, using the hit-and-run tactics honed in Exile. They struck from impossible angles and vanished. More importantly, they shared their tactics in real time with their Council allies. "Follow the humans," ordered Captain Zeke of the Corps of Cruiser Vengeance. Slowly, the Allied fleet began to adapt, becoming a flexible, lethal-thinking organism. The tide began to turn, but a group of Devourers broke through, heading for Sanctuary's civilian cities. The only ship in their path was the Defiance. Chun looked at her mixed-species bridge crew. "All hands, prepare for ramming speed. We're going to show these things what happens when they threaten our homes." The Defiance accelerated into the lead Devourer ship, weapons blazing. At the last moment, Chun activated the self-destruct. "For Earth, for the Council, for everyone," her final transmission echoed. The explosion of the Defiance galvanized the fleet. Fueled by her sacrifice, the human and Council ships fought as one, adopting the aggressive, flexible tactics of the Commonwealth. They pushed the Devourers back. The battle lasted 18 hours. When it ended, the Devourers were in full retreat. The Alliance had won, but at a staggering cost. In the aftermath, High Arbiter Valar boarded the new command ship. He found Admiral Park in the Memorial Hall, watching Sarah Chun's name being inscribed on the wall. "I owe you an apology," Valar said quietly. "We were wrong about humanity. We saw your independence as a threat. We didn't realize it was your greatest strength." Park looked at the wall, now covered in names from dozens of species. "She told you this would happen. Not the war, but the realization that cooperation is stronger than control." "What now?" Valar asked. "Now we rebuild," Park replied. "The Devourers will be back. And when they come, we will be ready. Not as Council and Commonwealth, but as equals, as allies." The war continued for 3 more years, but the Alliance forged its sanctuary held. Council species learned human flexibility. Humans learned Council patience. The old rigid hierarchy was gone, replaced by a new unified galaxy, stronger not despite its differences but because of them.